Could Aaron Jones and Kenny Golladay both be on their way to Miami in 2021? This is Christopher Smith, Pro Football Network Senior Betting Analyst, with today's edition of PFN 365. Three of the biggest topics, each addressed in 65 seconds or less. For the second straight week, we begin in the Sunshine State. Last week, the Dolphins made some waves by releasing 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗡𝗦. This week, they acquired disgruntled 2020 first-round draft pick Isaiah Wilson from the Tennessee Titans. The fact that Miami was able to acquire the offensive tackle for what amounts to a 7th-round pick swap shows just how anxious Tennessee was to get rid of him. Brian Flores attended the same Brooklyn prep school as Wilson, and obviously the Dolphins believe their head coach might have a better chance of motivating the talented Georgia product than the Titans did during his disappointing rookie season. Now, to me, this move isn't the reason the Dolphins won't draft Penei Sewell out of Oregon with the 3rd overall pick in April's draft, but instead, this move is an indication that Sewell was never really in the Dolphins' plans to begin with, having used 3 draft picks last season to shore up their offensive line. Look for Miami to instead add multiple playmakers in this year's draft with the possibility of a trade down. Speaking of available playmakers, wide receiver Kenny Golladay of the Detroit Lions and running back Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers both became unrestricted free agents this week when their respective NFC North teams declined to apply the franchise tag. PointsBet has Miami listed as the most likely destination for Jones at plus 325, with the Packers at plus 500 to keep the running back services. Another team listed at plus 500 is the New York Jets, who PFN fantasy analyst 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 mentioned as a possibility in an article just last week. Considering their current roster restraints combined with having plenty of cap space, the Jets could use his services whether they decide to keep Darnold or they draft a rookie quarterback. Now, Golladay, meanwhile, was immediately linked to the aforementioned Dolphins as well as the New York Giants. The truth is, though, there'll be no shortage of suitors for the potential all-pro pass catcher. Don't count out the AFC South teams either here, as the Colts or the Jags might look to make a splash to add another pass catcher for Carson Wentz or Trevor Lawrence. Finally, let's talk about these Cincinnati Bengals uniform leaks. While I readily admit that these aren't official yet, and I acknowledge the jersey will likely look much different when worn by Joe Burrow versus hanging off a crooked clothes hanger, I still can't help but wonder why Nike and the NFL franchises themselves don't go back to the uniforms that worked in the past. The Bengals of the late 1980s with the Boomer Esiason, Ickey Woods era uniforms, those were brilliant. Go back and watch any highlight from their 1988 Super Bowl run and tell me that those are not just the best uniforms they could possibly come up with. Speaking of their Super Bowl opponent from that 1988 Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers also appear to be getting new throwback uniforms this season. And while the Bengals uniforms initially appear uninspiring at best, 49er fans seem to universally love the 1994 Steve Young black outline jerseys. The moral of the story here, it never hurts to tap into fan nostalgia with these uniforms. This has been Christopher Smith with PFN 365. Make sure you say subscribe to the Pro Football Network YouTube channel to stay up to date with all our video content throughout the offseason.